Okay, children, we are going to start our new chapter, that is brief overview of Python. So before going into the topic, we have to discuss certain other topics. So, what is the importance of a language? A language is used for effective communication or for sharing our ideas with each other. We human beings use a language. Likewise, we need a language for the computer to communicate with the computer. There are two types of languages. They are high level language and low level language. So, a high level language and a low level language. A low level language is again classified into assembly level language and machine level language. High level language is a language in which we human beings do programming. They are Python, Java, C, C++, etc. And in assembly level also we do programming, but it is somewhat tough than that of a high level programming language. That is, in assembly level language, there are codes for doing operations, like for addition, for performing addition, it is ADD, and for performing multiplication, mul. But it is very difficult to do programming in machine level language because it consists of zeros and ones. That is, it is made up of, the language is a combination of binary numbers 0 and 1. So it is very difficult for human beings to write a program in machine language. So usually we write the program in high level or assembly language. And but our computer can understand only a machine language. So we have to convert this high level language into machine level language. Whenever we write a program in high level language, we have to convert that program into machine level language for the understanding of the computer. Also, if we write a program in assembly level language also, we have to convert that into machine language for the understanding of the computer. So there we need certain softwares to convert these languages into machine language. So for that purpose we use language translators. So these language translators are compiler, interpreter and assembler. So the function of compiler is to convert high level language. Compiler is to convert the high level language into machine level language. So the function of compiler is to convert the high level language into machine level language. And the function of interpreter is to convert the high level language into machine level language. So the difference between these two is that both are converting high level language into machine level language, but the compiler converts high level language into machine level language whole at a time. That is, it converts the whole program at a time into machine level language. And the interpreter converts the program line by line into machine level language. That is, first it converts single line into machine level language, then the next line is converted to machine level language. But the compiler, what it does is it converts the whole program into machine level language. Then the next type of translator is assembler. Assembler converts this assembly level language. Assembler converts assembly level language into machine level language. So our Python works based on the interpreter. Our Python works based on the interpreter. That is, our Python code is converted into machine level language or object code. It is machine code is also called object code, and the program written in high level language is called source code. So our Python is based on interpreter. It is interpreter converts our Python language into machine level language. So Python is an interpreted program. So the interpreted programs are somewhat slower compared to compiled programs, and in interpreter it is easy to find out the errors. Error finding is easy in interpreted programs than in compiled programs. So children, next is introduction to Python. So we all know now that Python is a high level programming language. Okay, so then what is a program? A program is a set of instruction or command to be executed by a computer. So what is a program? Program is a set of instruction or command that is to be executed by a computer. The language used to specify those set of instructions to the computer is called a programming language. So the set of instructions that are to be executed is written in computer language. So a program is written in a computer language. So our Python was invented by a scientist called Guido van Rossum in 1991. It is used in variety of fields including software development, web development, scientific computing, big data and artificial intelligence. Also, Python is used for people who are using Python newly. That is, for new users, Python is the best programming language. So, working with Python. To write and run a Python program, we need to have a Python interpreter installed on our computer, or we can use any online Python interpreters. There are applications like Jupyter Notebook which allows us to write a program and interpret it. The interpreter is also called Python shell, and the symbol, this three angle like symbol, is called the Python prompt, which indicates that the interpreter is ready to receive the instruction, and we write our code in the front of that in prompt, Python prompt, and we can type commands or statements on this prompt. Next is, there are two execution modes how we can execute or run a Python interpreter. So there are two modes, they are interactive mode and script mode. So in interactive mode, we can type a Python statement on the prompt like this way. Like this way, we can type the statement in front of a prompt. As soon as we press enter, The interpreter executes the statement and displays the result. Working in the interactive mode is convenient for testing a single line code for instant execution. But in the interactive mode, we cannot save for the future, and we have to retype the statement to run them again. Next is script mode. In script mode, we can write a Python program in a file, save it, then use the interpreter to execute the program from the file. Such a program files have .py as the file extension. That is, when we save the file, it will be saved with the file extension .py. And they are also known as scripts. Usually, beginners learn Python in interactive mode. But for programs having more than few lines, we cannot put in interactive mode because the programs will not be correctly run. And Python scripts should be created using any editors. Python has a built-in editor called IDLE, Python IDLE, which can be used to create programs. After opening the IDLE, we can click new. We have to click on the, like this will be opened, and we have to click on the file, then in that new file to create a new file. Then write our program on that file and save it with a desired name. By default, the Python scripts are saved in the Python installation folder. To execute a program in script mode, first we have to open the program using an editor, that is IDLE. In IDLE, go to run. You can see this here, run. In that, open the menu, go to run, and in that there will be an option run module. Click on that run module to execute the program, and the output will be displayed on the Python shell. So you can see in the interactive mode there are prompts, but in script mode, this is how a script mode will be. In a script mode, there are no prompts. We are just entering the whole program and then going to the run option and then run module to run the program. But in interactive mode, the output is displayed in the Python shell itself. Here the output will be displayed in the Python shell or Python interpreter. But we are writing the program in a IDLE or in an editor. I will show you how to write the program. Next is, in a program, in every program there is a smallest unit. Like we have three, atom is the smallest unit. Likewise, in a computer program, token is the smallest unit. So token is the smallest unit of a program. There are 5 types of tokens allowed in Python. They are keywords, identifiers, literals, operators, punctuators. So keywords are the words which have special meaning in a Python program. Those words, there are certain list of words, those words have certain special meanings in the Python program. Next is identifiers. They are the variable names. Like here we have given the variable names A, B, C. These are all variable names. So these variable names are called identifiers. The name given to a variable are called identifiers. Then literals. Literals are string, numeric, boolean like A, B, C, D, none, etc. Here you can see 2, 3, 4 are all literals. They are the values given to the variables. Names given to the variables are called identifiers, and the values given to the variable identifiers are called variables are called literals. So here we have used numbers, so it comes under a literal, numeric literal. If we have given there a name, then it is name comes under string literal. So literals you don't have to study in detail, but keywords and identifiers are coming in this chapter, so you will study in detail. Next is operators. So different operators applied in the Python program comes under operator keyword. Then punctuators. Punctuators are all the symbols that we have used in the Python program comes under punctuators. So what is a token? Token is the smallest unit of a Python program. There are different types of tokens called keywords, identifiers, literals, operators, and punctuators. So let us see what is a keyword. Keywords are reserved words. So each keyword has a specific meaning to the Python interpreter. So these keywords are special meaning words, and it is to be written as it is given in the list. So we cannot change any character in that code keywords. So these words, when the Python interpreter detects these words, it provides some meaning from these words. So let us see what are these words. These words will be used in the Python program. So the words are false, none, true, and, as. So as our Python program is a case sensitive language, that is, it identifies both capital letters and small letters differently. That is, it treats capital letters and small letters as different characters. So while writing, we have to write small letter keywords in small letter itself and capital letters in capital letter itself, because Python is case sensitive and it may produce error. So the keywords are false, none, true, and, as, assert, break, class, continue, def, del, elif, else, except, finally, for, from, global, if, import, in, is, lambda, non-local, not, or, pass, raise, return, try, while, with, yield. So these are the keywords used in Python. Next is identifiers. So in a programming language, identifiers are names used to identify a variable, function, or other entities in a program. So in the program we have seen a equal to 2. So here a is the name given to a variable. So it is the identifier. So there are certain rules that should be followed while giving that name variable. So there are certain rules for identifiers. Let us see what are the rules. So the name should begin with an uppercase or lowercase alphabet or an underscore. So the name should begin. The starting letter should be either a capital letter or a small letter or a underscore. Underscore is a symbol like this way, a underscore b. It is like a minus symbol, but minus is that can be used as the first character in the in the identifier. Then the name should may be followed by any combination of characters. So the first character should be a capital letter or a small letter or an underscore, but the next letter can be any of the characters from A to Z, that is small letter A to Z, capital letter A to Z, then 0 to 9 and or underscore, any. But the starting letter should not be a number. The identifier cannot start with a digit, but it can start with small letter A to Z, capital letter A to Z and numbers 0 to 9. Thus, an identifier cannot start with a digit, and the identifier can be of any length. It should not use reserved words, or keywords cannot be used as identifiers. So these words cannot be used to give a variable name. It will produce error. We should not use special symbols. No other symbols other than underscore can be used in the identifier name. Next is variables. So variable is an identifier whose value can change. For example, variable age can have different value for different person. Variable name should be unique in a person, in a program. Value of a variable can be a string, like you have seen global citizen, or name equal to in single quotes Arun. So these strings are always enclosed in single quotes, that you will study later. Then variables can be a number or a boolean, can or any combination of alphanumeric characters. In Python, we can use an assignment statement to create a new variable and assign specific value to them. That is, equal to is the assignment operator. So if we want to assign or use a variable a or name, we can use assignment statement, name equal to Arun. So to give a name Arun to the variable, or assigning a value Arun to the variable name, we have to use assignment operator equal to. So before using a variable, first we have to assign a value to that variable. Like this way, we are assigning a value to the variable gender. Gender equal to M. Message equal to, in single double quotes or single quotes, keep smiling. Price equal to 987.9. So variables must always be assigned before they are used in a program. Otherwise, it will lead to an error. So once if we are using variable gender in our program, first before writing the program, in the first line itself, we have to declare the value what the variable has assigned. So whatever a variable name occurs in the program, the interpreter replaces it with the value that a particular variable. So what it means is, the variable given values a equal to 2, b equal to 3, c equal to 4, and In the print statement, we have given the values a plus b plus c. So whenever the interpreter first executes the first line, then go to second line, then go to third line. When it reaches the fourth line to print the value of a plus b plus c, whenever the interpreter detects, identifies a variable, then it replaces that variable with its value. That is, a will be replaced by 2, then b will be replaced by 3, and c will be replaced by 4. Then it computes the result with the values, with these values. Then let us see an example to write a Python program to find the sum of two numbers. So in order to write a Python program to find the sum of two numbers, we need two variables to store the numbers. So here we have used num1 equal to 10, num2 equal to 20. So we can use any variable names. It is our choice to give a name to a variable. We can use a, b, or number 1, number 2, or 1, 2 we cannot use. Why? Because a variable name cannot start with numbers. We can write underscore 1 equal to 10 underscore 2. Likewise we can write. We will check. So we have two variables for storing the values. Then there is a variable called result. For that also we can give any name. Result equal to num1 plus num2. So the num1, whenever the interpreter first executes the first line, then it goes to the second line, executes it, then it goes to the third line, and there it finds two variables, and it will replace that variable with its value. So num1 will get the value 10, num2 will get the value 20. So it will calculate the num1 plus num2, and it will store the result in the variable result. Here the variable name is result. So it will store the value in result, and it will, the next statement is print result. Again it is identifying, and when it interpreter goes to the next statement, it identifies that there is a variable called result. So it replaces that variable with its value. So its value is 30, and it prints the output as 30. So here and all you can see a hash symbol. So what is the purpose of that hash symbol is, when we write in our program, if we give any hash symbol, the Python interpreter will not read that or execute that line. So this, to provide a comment, we give hash symbol before that line. So first, when the Python interpreter goes to first line, it will identify that there is a hash symbol, so it will not execute that line. Then it will go to the next line. Then also it detects a hash symbol, so it identifies that that line has not to be executed, so it goes to the next line. So just this hash data that are given in the hash symbol are just for the programmers to identify a program. Just we are giving a heading to that program, that is to find the sum of two given numbers. Or when if we are writing a large code, then some programmers will write few of the code and some other will be writing the next code. So if we put a hash symbol near each code, it's with its function, like this way, hash print function in Python displays the output. Like this way, if we specify the purpose of that code under a hash symbol, then a new programmer, if he finds the code, also can detect what is the purpose of that code. So next program is write a Python program to find the area of a rectangle. So what in maths, how will you find the area of a rectangle? It is length into breadth. So we need two variables, one for storing the length and the other for storing the breadth. So we can calculate the area is equal to length into breadth. Here also we need another variable to store the result of area. That is, the computed value is stored in a variable called area, or we can specify a as a variable for area, L for length, B for breadth. Any variable we can use, but it is to be used in such a way that if we see the program next time, we are able to understand what was the program and what were that values, variables, what type of data was that variable storing. So the variable name should be in such a way that whenever we read the program next time, we should understand what was that variable. So if for length I wrote B, and if for breadth I wrote C, for next time when I see the program, I won't be able to understand what that variables were storing, the what data that the variable was storing. So always the variable name should be given in such a way that we are able to understand what type of data it is. So length equal to 10, breadth equal to 20, area equal to length into breadth. So print area will print the output in the Python shell. That is, the output will be 20 into 10, that is 200. So let us see how the Python program can be written in interpreter and script mode. Then application that when we open, it will be like this, and here I told you to install certain modules. For that you go to pip. Here you can see a pip install pip. On that you can write, for you only numpy is needed, numpy. Then go to install and install that. After that, this is the script mode where you can write the program. So this is the interactive mode where we can write the program. You can see the Python prompt also. Can you see the Python prompt? 3 arrows. So we can write a program like this, a equal to get this, you will see a page like this. Then click on the 3 lines on the top. Click on that. Then you can see a interpreter. First is get premium, then the interpreter. Click on that. Then you will get a black screen like this. This is the Python interpreter. So let us write one program to add two numbers. So a equal to 2. Click enter. Then b equal to 3. Then a plus b. So the output is obtained 5. And again, if I print a, what is the value in a? 2. If I print a, then the value in a will be displayed. If I print b, enter, the value in b will be displayed. So if I want to run a large program, it is very difficult to run in interpreter mode. So let us see the variable names, how we can give. So if I give a variable name 1a equal to 2, it will produce an error because a variable name should not start with a number. And if I give a variable name underscore, this is the underscore 2, Usually names like this are not convenient to use. Is equal to 2. It is not producing an error because a variable name can start with capital letter, small letter and underscore. So if I write a area, variable name area is equal to 20. This is written, A is in capital letter. Then if I write area equal to 30. So here two variables are there, capital area and small letter. So you can see if I print area, that is A is in small letter, then it will print the value which is stored in the small letter area. That is, the Python will interpret both small letter and capital letters differently. So you can see if A equal to, this is the function of a variable, A equal to 2, then I am changing the value of A. That is, next A equal to 3. So you can see if I print A, the value, first the value A was having is 2. Then the value A was having is 3. So if I print A, the value will be now, A is now replaced by 3. So A will be printed as 3. Now let us see how to work in script mode. So if I click back itself, the script mode will appear and here we can write the code. So same as we can write A equal to 2, B equal to 3 and C equal to 4, print A plus B plus C. Then here click on this and save. Go to first click on this, then save. Direct. No need of creating a folder. No need of saving, just you run, then the save option will come. Here you can see a yellow color play like triangle like shape. Click on that and your program is run and it will be defaultly saved. So the output is given shown in the Python shell. You can see the output 9. This is the sum of 3 numbers. Or you can save here, it is saved as new star. Or you can save it here by clicking on this. You can save. Then let us see how to find the area of two numbers. So area is equal to, we can write length. For length I am writing L. L is equal to 30. B is equal to 20. For area I am writing A. A is equal to L. For multiplication we write star. L star B. Then print L, print A. If I click on this, we'll compute the area as 13 to 20, 600. Then if to add two numbers, we can write num1. Instead of num1, if we write n1 also, it is okay. Num1 equal to 2, num2 equal to 3, print num1 plus num2. Here we are not using a third variable called result. We are directly printing it here. So num1 plus num2, 3 plus 2, 5. Okay children, thank you. Do this in your mobile phone also. Try do these two programs.